Allah.
I'll make sure it's live, so don't speak first.
Okay.
Wait, Elaine is gone.
Hey, I thought you do. Sorry, I thought you do the broadcast one, individual broadcast,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Then you can.
I want to make sure that it's really live. All right,
Mm,
so you can start speaking.
mm.
So yes,
Okay.
hi, we're
Yep.
going live. We're live right now, so we can start.
Cool. Wow. On this balmy, sunny, 37-degree temperature in Singapore, we bring you another round table, second time round. And we're proud to present an international group of speakers who are extremely successful and not just successful, very pretty and very handsome. So we are going to start the whole thing now. Now, a word of caution in a sense that make sure that if you want to type any questions, please type it on Facebook so that we can respond to your questions by the speakers. And nothing to do with race or religion. Just keep the question, clean and in a sense like good for everybody to learn from. So without further ado, let me introduce my gorgeous Annie Chan, president of IWFCI. And somebody say, what is
Ah,
IWFCI? Is International Women Federation of Commerce and Industry. And over to you, Annie, to do a brief intro and start the
so
whole round
without
table.
further
Thank
ado,
you.
introduce what the focus on the president on IWSPI. Thank you so much, Marie. Okay, so you must. What IWSPI is International Women Federation. Sorry for the little interruption. I'm trying to manage the technical part here as well. All right, so a little bit of technical glitch there. So yes, thank you, Marie, for introducing me, and a very good afternoon to all of you who's watching in. All right, this is our second virtual roundtable. So as we gear towards the second half of 2021, things are starting actually to kind of like get heated up here in IWFCI Singapore because we have to plan for the global summit that is next year. All right, so yes, my name is Annie Chan, and I'm the president for IWFCI Singapore. And thank you, Marie, so much for taking up your precious time to host and moderate for us. And for those of you who are watching this for the first time, Marie is actually our past secretary. Yes, she has moved on to be serving other groups, but she's very kindly and very graciously still carrying on to serve us, in any way possible. So thank you very much, Marie. I promise I'll travel beyond Bugis to meet you the next time. All right. So 3 months ago, we had our first virtual roundtable, and at that particular session itself, I shared on how my life journey slowly but surely kind of evolved to what it is today. And actually, just as I thought things was going smooth, COVID-19 put a dent into my events business. I mean, we all know events is crazy, right? So it was literally a total standstill. But this time around, honestly speaking, I'm a little bit more ready. Why is that so? It's because the relationship that I've built over the years kept some projects ongoing for me, and in fact also helped open a few more doors for me where training is concerned. And it's also because of all this relationship that I built over the years, I managed to invite these four fantastic speakers to join us this afternoon. I know Dr. Elaine through IWFCI. She's her passion to help and empower women is just amazing, right? I mean, the passion that she shows how she helps the women in her own group. It's like I always wonder, where does she find the time? I mean, she's running a huge business, but where does she find the time? I mean, it's like, so it's just amazing, right? And I remember I met Miss a couple of years ago at a networking event, and she's also very passionate about helping women, especially women above 40. And what I always remember about her is she always has this huge smile on her face. Without fail, you look at her, she's always so smiley. It's like, even you're feeling a bit down, to look at her like gets you out. All right. And then Arnie is a new friend I made. She's introduced to me by my exco board, and I guess we connected just so easily because of our passion to help empower women, empower people more in their personal relationship. All right, and I always believe, right, all relationship you cannot leave the man out. Okay, so that's where we invited Vincent, and that's how I know Vincent. Vincent is actually an associate with Cassia Business Chamber, which is actually a strategic business partner with IWFCI Singapore. So you can see we are connected in many different ways that we don't even realize, right? And so my little message today is don't ever stop networking, don't stop building new relationship, but remember to maintain the old. And this is exactly what the four of you speakers are going to share today. So I'm sure our viewers is going to have great takeaway for the next hour or so. All right. So for that, thank you so much, and do enjoy this virtual roundtable.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you. So we are all very comfortable in where we are because we cannot touch each other, due to COVID situation. However, having said that, right, that is not to stop us from building relationships online and offline. And so it is my honor and privilege to introduce Dato Elaine Tay. She said this. She said her personal purpose is to help others in order for them to be able to help themselves in life. And it's not about how much money we make, it's about the difference made in each person's life rather. She is the president of Malaysia International Women Federation of Commerce and Industry and founder and executive chairman of Octopus Global Holdings Proprietary Limited. She founded in 2002. So can you imagine she lasted that long? That's amazing. It takes more than just resilience and tenacity to last that long in a business. Now, Dato Elaine is going to talk about business relationship, the key to business success. So over to you, Dato Elaine. Thank you. Yeah, Elaine, you are muted, I believe. Yeah, I believe you're muted.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. A very good morning or good afternoon to, wherever you log in. Okay. My name is Elaine. I'm the founder of Octopus Global Holdings Private Limited, founded in 2002. And in fact, it's actually a long journey. Yeah. What is the success of this, who we are now today? One of the factor is actually to have a sustainable relationship, be it to the vendor, supplier, customers, or even your own colleagues. And why do we need to have a strong relationship with the people around you in business? When you have strong relationship with your supplier, your brand principal, or your bankers, I think that help you to have the planning will be better planning, because you don't have many changes on the vendor, and they will give you different kind of way of working and all that. So with that, we have built very good relationship with a lot of our brand principals, as well as the bankers and customers as well. So Octopus Global Holdings Private Limited is the alcohol distributions company in Singapore, one of the largest in Singapore right now. And also in Malaysia, I acquired a company called Nguyen Heng F&B Private Limited. It's also one of the largest in Malaysia right now. For us, we distribute to all the channels, okay, bars, restaurants, hotels, wholesale, import-export, supermarkets, mums and pop stores, provision shops, and all that. So we are one of the distributor that do all the channels in Singapore. And when you talk about this relationship with the suppliers, or the to build relationships, is that we would have a greater efficiency as well, besides the planning, okay, and also we can have an effective performance. So we tend to have a lot of meetings with our brand principal or our suppliers, so that we understand sometimes the new product that they have. We bring forward the knowledge to our customers, and as well as we brainstorm sometimes, on how to improve the sales on this particular products and so on. I think it's equally important on that. And also we sometimes also leverage on the opportunity. Earlier on, I did share, that the new business that I'm in, besides the alcohol distribution, is the energy savings. By using the artificial intelligence, a smart device to monitor and to reduce the carbon footprint or the electricity bills in the commercial buildings and all that. So Singapore government is looking into it very seriously, and in year 2024 they are going to implement this, and it's compulsory on all the buildings to have energy savings. So that's why we started it this early this year. I think in a new business, I am still learning. Okay, in the new business, and in the new business, building relationship even more important because you are new in the business industry. So because of the relationship they have built, or even the friends I have, they all have different kind of friends that I have, that some their own building, some their own different businesses and so on. I think that helped my new business. Yeah. When we how we are going to sustain this relationship, of course, we have to be very pure and sincere to the people you know. Okay, make friends with them with sincerity, not to take advantage of people, and of course, integrity is very important in this building relationship. With good integrity, people will believe in you and trust you, and listen to what you say, and they can believe in your decision or what you want to do. So I think it's very important to build the integrity and honesty in business, or even in personal life as friends. So don't look down on making friends. I tell you, friendship, you're not looking for a returns, okay, when you make friends. So you never know that one day, when you need help, they come and help you. So when you're sincere with people, they, when you're in a difficult time, we help each other, right? Especially at this situation, COVID situation. A lot of people need help. They need your ideas. So you brainstorm, you talk to each other, see how we can leverage or see how we can help each other. I think it's very important as well. But for my business, distribution business, many years in the industry, the brand owner, they trusted us because we have fulfilled what we said, okay, what we want, or the goal that we set, and we will achieve it. So that relationship, that part of it, people, they believe in us, and thus they will give us more business. I think that is a growth that we treasure. But of course, sometimes brand owner, they may squeeze you, on when a certain year they need the growth, their own company, their MNC, they need their growth, so they sometimes can't give you such margin. And that's where you have to make a decision. No matter how relationship that you have, you can't override, you can't overpower that to ask people to give you that margin, because it's their own rights goal, they have to achieve the growth, right? So that decision, you may have to judge that whether you want to let go, or you're going to look for another alternative to cover back this part of the business. So on and off, the business is up and down. Like in this situation, we build very good relationship with our, we already build a relationship with the suppliers, that when this difficult time, we tell them that, look, we need extension on the paying to the brand owner or the supplier, because I mean, some part of the business that is badly affected, which is the modern on-trade, bars and restaurants. During the lockdown, you can't open it. So I would say that during this particular month, mid-May to the mid-June, our sales dropped tremendously in the modern on-trade, which is the bars and restaurants and even hotel. That dropped. Our sales from the 100, we only did 10%, which is really bad. Why 10%? Because some of the restaurants, they still do take away, so they still buy, and they do bundle deals, right? So we are in alcohol business. But luckily, in others channel, which is the supermarket and all that, e-commerce, that part of the sales is actually help us to cover back the losses. And even to the customers, the modern entree, they can't operate. They have to pay rental, have to pay their salaries to the staffs and all that. We know the difficulties, but they do come to us and seek for help. Sometimes, we would give in, because during this difficult time, we don't want to. In fact, we have the right to sue them, but we don't sue because we rather, the relationship that we built with them already, that they said, I will pay. So I trust them. Okay. Just like they trust us, right? So we trust them, we'll give in and let them pay a bit later, installment and all that. So this kind of relationship also we have to build. For some of the customer, of course, they take advantage of that, which we have to take action, we'll take action. So that's business, right? So that's why we have to judge on what the relationship between the sales personnel with the brand owner, or even ourselves as an owner. I do go and visit my customers, okay, in some of the key customers in Singapore. So I personally go and meet up with them, especially they are the big customers, like they give us a lot of sales and things like that. Yeah. Is there any more? Shall I ask for questions, Annie, or what is the next thing that I need to share about?
For Elaine, I just want a question, right, for myself, maybe the rest check on question. You are already the chairperson of your group. I mean, how do you feel about like going down on the ground, talking to your ground people? I mean, like the drivers or the delivery people. How do you feel? I mean, people will be saying that, wow, that's Dato' Elaine. How do you connect with them?
Okay, first of all, thank you for your questions. First of all, I would never. Okay, when I make a decision, I will stand as a chairman. Okay, when I meet up with people, I am just equal with other people. We are all the same. We are human beings. We have emotion. Okay, we have to put that aside. Just like when I go down to, of course, they respect me. They say, "Wow, the owner or the chairman is here." And I have to put myself down and I have to start to communicate with them. If not, they will be scared. They say, wow, you are so high up, you are here. Am I doing anything wrong? So the question is, it's very cute, when I have sometimes when I do announcement or ask them for a meeting, right? Normally I don't meet up with them unless there are certain circumstances that I have to meet up with them personally. So they're very scared, did I do anything wrong, or are you going to sack me or what? So sometimes it's like you have to break the ice. That's where what I do is, if you're in my face as a face of friend, I do bake for my colleagues here in every month. Like this month, the June babies or their birthday, I will bake for them. So now we can't get together because of the distancing issue. So what I do is I bake and then I will ask my HR to distribute to everyone on the cupcakes. Yeah. So that break the ice of that. Previously, like I have done it for a few years that before the COVID. So every month we get together, okay, be it the logistic driver or the warehouse workers to the top management. So every month we will get together to talk about the developments of the company, okay, and we share only positive things. We don't want to talk about negative things so that we will bring uplift their emotion. That they are in a good company, they are here, And often I do have people come to me. They, of course, sometimes they feel that you are the big boss. I am just maybe a small accountant or maybe just a bookkeeper. Okay, so they dare not come to you. So I would have to move forward and talk to them and start the conversation. So I think as a owner or be it a leader, I think that's to me is important because I do care for my colleagues. When they have difficulties, I even tell them, if you anything, please come to me directly if you think that for the good for the company. Okay, if you have any feedback, you can come to me directly. And those actually some of them they come to me. Let's say I'll give you a good example. I have one warehouse staff, and he came to me and said, Datuk, you know what? I have been working in many companies. You are the only boss that I encounter that, so caring that, you bake for us, you say hello to us, and it really means a lot to us. It's just a small little thing. You just say hello to them, right? It is something already. Why not just say hello? It doesn't cost you a pinch of your flesh, right? So I think it's a sincerity that we need to open up yourself, and the love or the care to the people. I think is very important. That is one of the factor for the sustainable, in business relationship, that you have to be very sincere. And of course, um, you have to, sometimes you will say that, oh, this person maybe want to take advantage of me. Maybe they think negatively on this. But to me, I say, I would open up myself as, become a caring person. We talk about life and all that. So they start the conversation on, everybody have their own family, be it whether you're married or not. You can start with this kind of conversation and open up so that people will slowly talk to you, not to immediately start. Okay, I want the business now. So that is how I deal with people. That the common ground that you can talk about. Think of something that you can start a conversation to start with. Right? This person may like cars, then you talk about cars. This person may like to talk about gardening, then you talk about flowers, gardening. Then you always, come up with something that interests. Yeah. Before you meet the customer or you meet this person, you can nowadays, Google is so easy. You can Google, unless you say that this person is like hiding, not in the social media or nobody knows about him. In fact, you can also find out from their staff, or do a bit of homework. Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah.
And I think what Elaine mentioned just now, like people sometimes we may fear that people are taking advantage and all that, and we also have our fair share of people saying that, what are you helping them? What are they going to give you back in return? So yes, I'm on Facebook with Elaine. I could see that not just for your own professional life. I think your role as the president for IWSM Malaysia, also see you bringing your group of ladies to help ladies who are underprivileged and all that. And I think those ladies can't exactly benefit you back, but I think to you don't see that as something important. I mean, but you still do it. Well, why did you choose to empower like the underprivileged ladies?
Okay, let's put it this way. Since young, this is what my mom told me. Okay, you are like a rubbish bin. Everybody that you want to meet up with people. I think, well, okay, in a good way that I get to have all spectrum of people. Be it from young, old races, all kind of different races also. I think that's my strength on that, because I love to meet people so that I can learn from them at the same time. Even though the kid, you can learn from the kid, right? You never know, they can be your customer one day. So these are the things that you have to put yourself down. Okay, even though you are somebody in the company, okay, just say for example, in our own family, I will not wear my hat as a chairman or CEO. When I go home, I am still a CEO. No, you can't, because I'm a mother. I need to look after my kids. There's no longer a CEO. Just like treating your parents, right? Although I'm a CEO, when I go home, I am your daughter. I have to love you as a father or your mother. I will do whatever as a daughter should do. So I think this, you have to be very clear on that, especially when as a president of International Women's Federation of Commerce Industry Malaysia chapter. I think I have a very good team, I must say. Okay, a group of committee members that have been following me for a couple of years, and new one that have newly on board also. They have seen how I do things, because I really put my heart into the ladies. When you say, why just help women, not others? And of course, I do help others, but I focus more on women, because women in the family, or especially in the family, is so important. It's a very important role in life. Okay, mothers, grandmothers, even mothers or self or or daughters, or and so on. Because as a mother, we are not. To me, I'm not just a career woman, but I'm also, as a mother, I try my best to be a good mother. Of course, there's no trade-off. You cannot be perfect for both because we only have 24 hours. We cannot do best, but we try to do our best always. Let's say, for example, in the Sarawak school that I have set up, is a sewing school to help the needy single mother to learn a skill so that they have a livelihood, they earn a livelihood. And this group of ladies, they are so far away. They're 4 hours away from Kuching by car and then by ferries. And these are people who need help. If they are staying in the city, they can always look for a job easily, right? They can be sales assistants or in the supermarket and all this easily. But in the kampong area, village, kampong is the village in Malay. So in the village, they can't leave the family because they're single mother, they're the breadwinner. And they still have to look after the kids and their parents, They can't leave them and go out and start their business or start their career, right? This group of people, they are so, used to be in the comfort zone in the village. They don't want to go out and they also don't have the money to go out. They are so underprivileged that they don't even have the fee to go to the city. And this is that bad. So at the point they sit for the Minister of Women, and she used to be our patron in the IWFCI Malaysia chapter, and now she's an ex-minister. And this is Baladin is her constituency. That's how I get into involved in that. She called me for help one day. She said, Dato, my people, my ladies, they are crying for help. She said, I already helped them by, giving them a basic sewing course and even give them machines to bring home to do the job so that they can earn a living. Because the minister is not a business person, she doesn't see the sustainability. Okay, so she thought this is done. She thought that nothing else that needed help. In a village, there are 10,000 in the population, and they are not well off. Their income is as low as 1,500 or maybe maximum 2,000 ringgit. You're talking about by $3 maybe $600. Yeah, $600, $700 per household. Okay, and they can't afford to buy beautiful clothing or even get a tailor to make a clothing for them. Therefore, almost all the single mother, attended the course and learned how to sew. So they became the 130 sewer in the kampong in the village. And of course, the demand is not there. Ended up is only 20 or 30% of the sewer can survive because they are more innovative. They come out with beads, on the clothing, some design. They learn by themselves. They only learn the basic, but they don't learn the advanced to it. Everything is all estimate. They don't even have proper measurement. They don't know how to do that. But when I come into the picture, I attended this a community center and met up with this group of ladies, and they respected us. I brought in another friend who is one of the pioneer fashion industry. Her name is Esther Tay. If you want to Google her, she has whole range of references, in this industry. She's one of the largest uniform maker in Singapore right now. And she says she wants to give back to society. So I brought her along. And she was very touched, okay? When we walked into the hall, everybody dressed up nicely, very colorful. They do makeup, they respect us. So when we talk about it, I said, if we come in to build a sewing center, and I get a professional trainer to train you all, since you all know the basic, so I'll teach you another level, intermediate and advanced. Would you want to attend? And you know what happened? They all stood up and say, yes, we want to do it. They speak in dialect. I can understand some Malay because they don't speak Malay, they speak dialect. So from that action that already touched my heart, seriously. They are hungry, they need it, they want to enhance themselves. And on that moment, I asked Esther, are you in with me? I'm in because I can feel, they are hungry, they want help, they need help. This is where we can give them hope. And Esther said, yes, let's do it. I asked her 3 times, are you sure? Because I need your know-how. I don't know anything fashion, all right? I'm not in this fashion industry. I need I need her technical terms, the knowledge. And she answered 3 times, yes, we are coming in. So within 3 to 4 months, I went there I think more than 30 times. Okay, although it's very far, it's a bumpy road. About 10 times, or I think 10 or 12 times through and fro, I had it set up in 4 months' time. So I went there to get a unit, a bare unit. So I put in machine. I even bought the industrial type of machine made in China, but they're as good. Okay, they're industrial one. They are very fast. I set up and I import the new one, because to me, if I want to do something, I would rather do it right. I don't do 6:30. If I bring in, I can make it very low in I won't call investment because this is charity work. I rather put in effort and put in money into a right way, so that they will not give me trouble. So they're so far away. If you get a vendor to fix a machine, I can buy the second hand or third hand or whatever. It can be very cheap. But I don't want to. I'd rather raise fund, which I did. I raised fund from friends or from, Rotary Club and all that. Everyone, chip in something. And it's so meaningful. We have this particular machine itself have taught so many students. It's not only one student. That now we have 80 over students. Okay, we even shift from one village to another village now. Yeah, we have taught enough of this kampong is already finished. They said no more students want to come anymore, because they are some of them they're big old. Yeah, to be fair to them.
Dr. Elaine,
Yes,
so much for your authentic sharing. So due to time,
the time.
I
Okay,
really
understand.
appreciate your sharing, and it's very heartwarming and very heartening, because you are truly living the life of what you say, making a difference in people's lives. So really, truly. Now, I'm going to leave some tips that Dato Elaine shared earlier. So the 5 tips and takeaways are: if you are new in business, or if you are currently in the business, the 5 tips are: build trust with people around you, whether it's your vendors, whether it's your friends, family. Be authentic about your situation. Don't try to in a sense hide things away, because people don't know your situation, and if they don't know the situation, they think that you're trying to dodge. Be communicative. Okay, communicate what you want, how people can help you, so that others can help you. Compassionate and supportive. And last but not least, be humble. Wow, thank you, Dr. Elaine. That really, really, truly was a very good talk that you have provided, and really appreciate your
Thank you.
sharing. So
Thank
so
you.
genuine and so personable. Now, on to Miriam Feller. As I said, while the world economies got the G7, we got our G6 plus one team behind. So we have got G10. Now, if you are just joining us, uh, we brought all the international flavors into one little red dot via the Facebook. So if you are just joining us, thank you for your time, and you're going to enjoy. Now, the next speaker, Miriam, is the founder of Max Volume. She built a 15K strong entrepreneur community around connection, collaboration, creativity. She's also the founder of 40 to the Max. So if you are below 40, I'll be finding one call 20 to the max to 39. No, not yet. Just saying that. So 40 to the max, and it's for ladies that gone through, so-called, we wouldn't say midlife crisis, but their purpose, and why are they here, kind of thing. And she's also very good with networking. She's born in Israel, so as you can tell, she's gorgeous, and she's lived in Australia, and now she calls Singapore home. And she was just sharing on Facebook about Newton circles, and I thought, like, oh dear, if she had known me earlier, I'll bring her to some neighborhood food court. Now, without taking too much of Miriam's time, Miriam is going to talk about network to build a sustainable one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie, for your introduction and kind words, to Annie for putting this great round table together. And welcome to all the participants, wherever you are watching us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We can actually see your comments, so feel free to share your comments, because they pop up and it's really encouraging. So keep them coming on. Now, I'd like to actually just start by following on from Marie's, nuggets of wisdom that you've taken away from Dato Elaine's presentation, and also to reiterate Elaine's sentiments on relationship building. Like, despite all the uncertainty in the world, everything we're going through at the moment, the rapid technological advancements that have pushed us all online, meaning this is now the way that we network and build relationships, the fundamentals of building trusted business relationships remain unchanged. So for me, I feel, and it really reiterates what has already been said, and I know we'll follow on with the other speakers, because we're living and breathing building successful networks, and we are accomplished networkers. The 4 fundamentals for me very much are: 1, you need to connect and have conversations with people, people, to establish rapport. That's the first step. You need to keep having those conversations with fresh people, with new people, with the same people, to be able to then establish rapport and find those commonalities and find the energy that suits you in those conversations. And when you have those conversations with people, you'll start to see alignments show up, and you'll be able to start exploring opportunities and building trust with each other the more you connect with each other and build those relationships. So this is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And then you need to demonstrate reciprocity to elevate yourself as a person of value. So what do I mean about that? It's not about taking. Meeting people is not about what you can get from them. You need to show that you give and that you are humble in receiving. Reciprocity is the key to really all relationships, and especially in business. People want to see that you're walking your talk and talking your walk. And then you need to follow through on your word. Because when you follow through on your word, it confirms in others that you're of solid character. So really all these have been touched on by Dato Elaine in her personal story of her success, because that's how you build successful relationships, and that is how you get ahead in your profession, in your career, in your business. But what I want to present today is on how to build a sustainable network. So what do I mean by this? It's highly likely, and all of us are of the vintage that this has happened to us, that in the course of our professional careers, we will change jobs, we'll change industries, we'll reinvent ourselves, possibly from an employee to a business owner. We move countries like I have, or we can take long breaks for child rearing or for looking after our relatives. So there are many times in our life and in our career that there's movement and there's change. And as long as our lives change and evolve, we want to make sure that the network we have can support our visions and our aspirations and our goals through all those movements. That's what you want to achieve, and that's why you need to build a sustainable network. So we want to ensure that the people in our network are the types of people that we can call on, reach out to, and gain support from as we continue to morph and evolve in our lives. That's the power of a sustainable network. So it eradicates the fear associated with change. So that's really important. It eradicates the fear associated with change, because change is scary. But if you know that there is a network around you to support you, then it makes that change less scary and it makes you braver. So what I train people on is how to build a network for life. And if you think about building a network for life rather than just a short-term gain, it shifts your mindset from the limited view of thinking, oh, I just network so I can make the next sale or I can secure my contract. You want to be building a network of people who will be there for the entire duration of your career, regardless of how many twists and turns it takes. Things do not always go according to plan. We are living in the midst of it. It's life, and it makes you more resilient. Every year there'll be opportunities that are given to you. There'll be opportunities that are taken away from you. So the really smart way to prepare for that is to put your triple Ps into action, your professional protection protocols, your triple Ps. So these protocols help you focus on building support structures around you. So I just want to I want you to picture yourself wrapped totally in cotton wool. Now that would certainly help you when you bump into things. It helps you when things are thrown at you if you're wrapped in cotton wool. So you need to think of your network as your cotton wool. The more high quality, shock absorbent cotton wool you have wrapped around you, the less bumps, bruises, and breaks you will feel. So in your cotton wool state, you're automatically going to feel more confident about walking into risk and being in situations where crises could occur. And in crises in business, it could be, if you're an employee, it could be being made redundant. If you're in a business, it's a loss of a business. And if you make a mistake, lose your job, get rejected, fail at something, it's okay, because you have wrapped around you the people that will continue to impact, support you, and help you. So your network is there, and they prevail in these times to wrap you, lift you, and guide you. So you can see why having a network for life is so essential. So a powerful network, once developed, will support you through changes in job, career, and location. The people you invite into your network are your foundation. So you need to nurture and cultivate these relationships very, very carefully. Networking is a long-term investment, as all of us on the panel have, had careers long enough to know that. And when you develop business relationships that strengthen the person you want to be and the life that you want to have, you are then going beyond just the people that can fulfill you in the short term, but that can support your aspirations and your very core, your very energy of being in life. And it makes you then be able to walk down that path very, very confidently, because the people in your network, they walk with you. They may not be doing the same thing as you, but they walk with you and they support you. And that's a fact. I have changed countries. I have lost businesses. I've been made redundant. I've changed from being in international trade to running a tech startup. I've just written some songs and produced them. I'm writing a novel. I can have the bravery and the imagination because I know that I have dozens of wonderful people in my network that I can ask for advice. I can get their support. And it doesn't mean that in any way I am confined by a mindset that I have a network that is only useful for one thing or for one career. And it took me a while to learn that. And I hope that that's going to be the big takeaway for you. As soon as you know what impact you want to make in life, then you need to find the like-minded people who are equally impact-driven. So it's about finding go-getters, people who are internationally minded, if that's what you are, positive people, people who are giving and generous, because I know that I can call on their support and they can call on my support. So it's not a question of what their status is. It's a question of what their character is and what their values are. So if you want something that's sustainable, and think about a marriage as well. If you want to be with someone and have these relationships, you have to have similar values on excellent communication. And you have to be able to know where you're going and be confident, because people will follow a confident person and take interest in a confident person's career if they show that they are lifting themselves up when they fall down and getting back on the horse and trying again, if that's what it comes to. And what I love about having a network of contacts that I've had for over 20 years is that suddenly you might hear from them because they've kept track of your progress, and something, comes to them, in a different country even. And they're like, ooh, that might be an opportunity for Miriam. I'm going to send her an email, and I will do the same. And I do it all the time. Even if I read an article that I think will interest someone because it's in their industry or, has something to do with their business that they could benefit from, I share. I'm always sharing information, articles, opportunities, and introducing people to each other. You need to become that kind of person to be able to have a network that is sustainable and that brings you joy, because so many of the people that join your network do ultimately become friends as well. And that's the biggest benefit. So one tip that I will give that's very practical is to keep your network updated on your progress. So I recommend sending an email out every year, once a year, to your network, just to update them on where you're at. You don't ask for anything. You obviously inquire how they are, make sure they're okay if you haven't heard from them, and just give them an update, what's new in your career, your business, and your life. And this keeps you top of mind with them. It shows that you value them enough to communicate with them, that you value them because you want them to, know about what you're up to and be part of that. You're sharing good news and sharing life news. And then chances are that a percentage will respond to you with a friendly response, possibly the opportunity to catch up with a phone call. Now, there's no doubt that COVID has changed how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we potentially see our career. I wrote to a friend of mine the other day, I said, if we have the privilege of living to 100, we would have had many lives and many chapters. So I really also encourage all of you, if you haven't yet taken this time to process the enormity of what is happening, is to really sit down and reflect on the big stuff. What is truly important to me? What are my values? What do I want in my life? Am I really doing what I want to do? Because now is the time. In every crisis breeds opportunity and a chance for rebirth. And I just want you to take this opportunity to be brave and think about, where is it you want to go, and really look at who you have around you and start to move forward more strategically in how you build relationships if you haven't to date. Don't be afraid of people. Have lots of conversations and, use that muscle, use that conversation muscle. And, like Dr. Elaine says, you need to be interested in people, because when you're interested in people, it builds that instant rapport and gets people wanting to continue those conversations with you. We all recognise that the longer the crisis continues, the more financial pressures, limitations on our freedom and sense of isolation make it necessary to have these kind of hard conversations with ourselves and with the people around us to see if it's, really the directions that we want to go. We need to be, a lot of us are in survival mode and maybe pushing those big questions aside, but I think we should be doing that head on. And I really think that the difference between sinking or swimming is always in your response. And I am absolutely certain that anyone who's out there who has built trusted and effective connections, so people like me that are described as excellent networkers or connectors, if you're like that, you'll be feeling the same. We're far less fearful at the moment because we have a confidence in our network, and we have a confidence in the support system around us. And that is the gift that I want you to have for yourself, to give yourself that gift by being very clear about, what impact you want to make in the world, and finding people who are also impact driven and share your values and share the enthusiasm for, whatever it is you do, and they're your people. You have to find these people and you have to keep them tight and nurture them and let them expand with you and introduce people. And you just have to be an expander of positive energy, an expander of connection. And that is how you will build a sustainable network for life. Thank you.
Golly gosh, that's a lot to take in. Wow, thank you, Miriam or Miss. Now, the takeaway from Miss is that, well, one thing for sure, you notice that her glasses are very big, so she see far and she see wide. You see, so that's how she built such big network. That's amazing. And some of the takeaways are, if you are listening in, take this down again. She reiterated about building trust. Trust not to say, well, I build your trust already, I sell you some products after that, kind of thing. But it's also to demonstrate receiving and giving. And it's not just a matter of taking, and then after that, you don't give it out kind of thing. But make sure you also follow through with all these engagements and commitments. Don't just make a promise and then disappear for 50 years and then appear again, kind of thing with no relevancy. And two more points. Embrace change. Be not fearful, because with the network of people surrounding you, supporting you, you won't be afraid to step out, because you're not alone. You're not alone in the journey. People are coming alongside to help you. And last but not least, put a protection personal protocols in place. What she's saying is, don't go out there and buy all the cotton wool and start wrapping yourself. It's too hot in Singapore. You'll melt firstly. But what she meant is that, value the people so that they too will give back the value. Wow, that is amazing. I'm learning so much in my 55 years, so I'm not ashamed to say that I'm that young, huh? And coming up next, ladies and gentlemen watching in, you're very fortunate because we've got a sunflower among all the flowers and roses. And Vincent Chia is no stranger to traveling, and he works with Tesla, and he is also used to work in London Stock Exchange for probably over 15 years. So he's a man of not just power, but no money and how money works. He was also awarded the best employee in ASEAN CEO Circle 2008. Now, employers out there, potential, Vincent Chia wants to work with you. And so today we are very fortunate to invite him to talk about building and managing cross-border business relationships, because he travels so much he doesn't even know where he's going sometimes. So over to you, Vincent. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so my name is Vincent. I'm from CASIA Business Center. So what is CASIA? CASIA stands for Central Asia, Southeast Asia. So total of 16 countries. And then one of our key missions is to facilitate businesses as well as investment across these 16 countries. All right. Okay. Thank you for the invitation and then the introduction. Yeah. So let me just have one sentence to introduce myself. All right. So if I come out with this statement, say Vincent Chia is a PR guy. Okay. So just feel that sentence. Feel that sentence. All right. Which is the so-called word or alphabet that really resonate to you most? All right. If I convert into a color, is it a red color? Is it yellow color? Is it blue color? Is it brown color? All right. So just have that thought. All right. And then the next thing is that this sentence itself. All right. The one that resonates to me most is actually PR. Okay. So PR, what does it stand for me? The first thing that comes to mind is P stands for photography. All right. So the R itself stands for rewarding. And then why is it so? It's because months ago, I was invited to conduct a photography session to a group of primary school students in Singapore. All right. And then imagine standing in front of this group of primary students, okay, running around and then try to deliver, how to take a good photograph or take good pictures. All right. And then after 2 hours, I felt like I was in the gym for 2 hours. Okay. Right. Okay. And then the interesting part is that at the end of the 2 hours, one of the students came forward to me and then presented me this piece of notes here. I hope you can see from here. All right. Thank you, Mr. Vincent. All right. So I see this is a very rewarding experience to me. Okay. It's a good way to build relationship. All right. From a photography trainer to students. All right. Even though it's one student, but it's very rewarding. Okay. So have that story in mind. And then when it comes to any so-called casual meeting itself, I like to actually come up with this statement. I say that PR again. All right. P stands for planet Earth. I say that planet Earth is a ship. And then people ask me, why is it planet Earth is a ship? Okay. I say that actually this planet Earth is about relationship. Okay. So we live in a planet Earth, and then it's about people to people, people to nature, people to society, and so on. All right. And of course, for this topic itself, we'll concentrate more on the cross-border people to people relationship, especially in the business area. Okay. And when it comes to this, the word P or the alphabet P or R, and then in a typical cross-border itself, we need to do some homework. First of all, P reminds me of politics, and then R reminds me of regulations. So before any so-called project itself, we have to sit down and so-called take a closer look at the country's politics and regulations. All right, and just give you an example of one of the projects I was engaging before, and then it was dealing with central bankers, and then we have a fair competition, and so we work with the ground staff very closely and understand what are their policy requirement and so on, and then the ground force itself will do the first round of what's called discussion and so on, and then later we go in to help them, support them and so on. And then among these central bankers, all right, some they actually pro, that means support our idea or proposal. But of course, there are a few central bankers that are actually against our so-called proposal. So we actually have to understand them from their colleagues, all these things. What are the reasons they are actually against us? And then try to match some of their expectation, wishes, and so on. And eventually, the good news is that we actually close the case. And then not only sustaining the building the relationship, but we managed to actually, because of the central bank influence, the power of influencing, and then we actually managed to sustain a huge market share within the country itself. I think that deal itself actually allow us to capture about 90% of the market share, all right, because we are actually have done a good job convincing the central bankers. So you can see that understand politics, understand the regulations, the people involved are very important, not only building but eventually sustaining a cross-border business. And talking about R itself, okay, let's say R, okay, R reminds me of a Russian language. So I also travel to Central Europe very often, and then the language itself is important because by the way you understand the language, you understand how the people in general actually think and behave. Okay, so I'm going to use Russian language as example. Russian language is very flexible. Okay, let's say we come out with English sentence like I love pet, I love dog, for example. Okay, and then for the English sentence itself, there are a few limited combination. For example, I love dog or dog I love. That's about the type of combinations that we can accept as a so-called proper English, right? However, in the Russian language itself, the subject and the object itself can be so flexible that you can actually swing it around. Okay, so in terms of if I translate to English, is that I love dog, or dog I love, all are actually acceptable. Okay, in Russian language, it's called ya lublю собаку. Okay, so the way that these languages is structured allow it to be so flexible, and then people understand what is the subject, what is the object of the sentence. It shows that this the country itself, the peoples are very flexible. So when you actually try to meet them, you understand that they're actually quite flexible in terms of some of the negotiations, some of their offering, and then they expect you to be equally flexible. All right. So language itself equally important, right? And then a country that actually very focused on relationship, of course, across the world, but the one that actually highlighted a lot is actually China. Okay, so there's actually a particular term for that. It's called 关系, which means relationship. All right. So to most of the Chinese, this is very important. And then when I was in China, and then I was told to actually do some reflection. All right, and then asked to actually read some of the ancient Chinese history written texts. Okay, probably the one written in BC 500. Okay, and then after reading through it, I probably couldn't get the gist of it. And then I asked my friend, said that what was your idea behind trying to give me the advice of reading and understanding this part of history? He said that this part of history actually highlighted not only relationship, but the so-called PR again, the pain and the return. Okay, so in layman term, all right, at the personal level, you also need to understand the pain point as well as the return. This return means the gain of the individual. I think that applies to organization as well. What are the pain point as well as the so-called gain they hope to achieve, right, for this particular project? All right. So at the top level, politics, regulation. At the down level, organization, and the individual level itself is basically the so-called pain and the gain. All right. Okay. Having that said, okay, we when we're doing a project itself, we usually do a lot of planning. All right, planning for the sunny day. That means if everything works well, we go by this and so on. Okay, and then the planning itself also build confidence for our prospect and our customers. Say that okay, we have an actual plan, and then we are really of integrity and then execute the plan accordingly. Right. So the confidence and the trust built along the way. Okay. However, the R again, we must ready for rainy day. Okay, I think this is very timely for this period of time whereby the COVID hit us, and then whether you like it or not, you have to ready for all this rainy situation, whereby we have to give and take. Either we do a extension, we do a price decrease, or we try to have a so-called extended payment and so on to actually help our customer. Okay, so not just simply take, but we also need to give. All right, in this actually difficult time. All right, and hopefully, in sunny day we build the trust gradually. However, in rainy day, if we can be transparent, sincere, of integrity, and so on, we may actually reinforce the trust even more. Okay, of course, there are cases that we actually, due to some situation, it was being broken. Okay, the trust is being broken, but we try to salvage and then go back to them again, as what the previous speakers mentioned, being persistent, continues to re-engage, right? Whether it's a yes or no answer. All right, and then so talking about this trust, all right, there's actually, when trust is being built gradually, all right, this has to be treasured, and this need to be so-called being taken care of, because it's not easy to earn trust, but it's very easy to break. And then if you think it from an energy perspective, there's a sort of energy bonding. This energy bonding itself takes a while to build, and then hopefully through difficult time we work together, this energetic bond can be reinforced further, right? And then talking about energy bond itself, it also give me this so-called questions. Say that to build a sustainable relationship by reinforcing this energetic bond, but it also allows to actually able to reduce. Okay, because there are cases whereby the customers actually tends to be more overly demanding, and then it actually start to abuse the contract and so on. So that means you must also try to have a way to reduce it and then maintain a comfortable distance. All right, not to say that to actually go against them, but actually understanding that there's this energetic bond, all right, whereby you can actually go nearer, or you can go a bit behind, and then actually create a safety, comfortable distance for yourself. Okay, I give you an example. For example, there was a client that asking for a solution, all right, and then because I got the luxury of time, I'm happy to present it to them and so on. However, they come back to me again asking for more and more solutions, which I find that it's as if I'm actually in their role. Okay, so I'm not saying no to them, but instead of giving them solution wholesale, all right, I actually give them guidelines. Say, okay, given these questions, this will be the guideline that you can solve the problem, rather than actually giving them the fish. I actually basically present them the fishing method, right? So that's to maintain a so-called comfortable distance, right? Okay, and then talking about the so-called that photography lessons I mentioned. Okay, so this type of building relationship and sustaining relationship is not simply because I'm in a business setting. I need to wear the business head. I actually behave that way. It's actually because I constantly, persistently engaging in all this activity, constantly doing self-reflection after each engagement, and then I have that habit, I have that state of being, and then so that this type of a so-called building relationship, as well as this way of a sustaining relationship is actually something that is natural. All right, so I don't have to purposely wear a business hat in order to actually behave this way. That means with or without business hat, commercial setting or even a personal life setting, I actually is friendly enough and so on. Right, looking at the sentence, looking at the statement itself, how to build a so-called sustainable business relationship. I rather make it something simple for layman term, like how to actually transform a prospect, a client, to a friend forever. Okay, so my just some suggestion, all right, is that to be persistent, all right, and then constantly engaging in activities, having conversation, and do self-reflection, all right, after each engagement to improve yourself further. This will actually allow you to go into this state of being. That means that I am friendly, I am friendliness. And then by being in this state, all right, one, it will be able to transform prospect, customers, overseas or local, all right, regardless of all ages, and then to friends forever. Okay, easier, and then most importantly, naturally. Yeah. So that's basically my sharing for today.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic, Vincent. Thank you for sharing. So, there are more than a few takeaways, and you can start taking photography as a hobby now because you see people through lenses. Yeah. So some of the takeaway, there were 3 pointers. Again, the building of trust is so important. It's not just what you do, but can people trust you to fulfill it? Can people trust you for your character to and relationship is not just one way; it's both ways. So, what are some of the things that you can offer to help so that others can learn from you and you can help them and vice versa? And last but not least, right, build a bond so strong that in times of any crisis whatsoever that you can always tap on. Now I have another gorgeous lady, last but not least. She is I believe from Singapore. Yeah, I think so, but never mind, we're in Singapore now. And she looked like a beautiful mini mouse, as you can tell. Look at her little bow there. She's all dressed up, ready to go. And Ernie is a certified therapist, master practitioner in NLP, also a master coach in social and emotional intelligence. Now, when people talk about relationship, they always talk about, boyfriend, girlfriend, sex, Now that I got your attention, but actually, we're not going that way. But what I'm trying to say is that, relationship can be anything ranging from parent-child, from nature, from employee to employment, the employer, and so on and so forth. So and what's interesting about Ernie is that when she sent the bio, she's actually a race mix, as in like she has some mixed blood. That's why she's so cute. And also she's in a mixed marriage, according to her. She's been married for 22 years, and they live in multiple cities and countries, going through new relationship communities at every turn. And Ernie is a big believer that relationship is not just building with others, but with self. And so she's going to talk about making relationship work in business. Over to you, Ernie.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for inviting me. I've enjoyed listening to everyone speak, and I think it's very similar to what I'm going to be talking about. I'm just building on to what Dr. Elaine said, to what Miss said, to what Vincent have shared. Is literally building relationship and just adding more layers to that. So first of all, I'm just gonna have to say I'm a little bit low key today because normally I'm very hyper. I'm trying to smile a little bit more. I'm of another international move. We are leaving Singapore for Thailand in 2 weeks, and I've also just had a really sad news yesterday. A beloved person that we are very close to in our family has just passed away from COVID last night. So I'm actually still grieving, but I'm smiling through the tears. So as Marie have explained, I'm actually a therapist. I'm actually a love therapist. So I'm normally I'm not a business speaker. I'm more of a motivational and personal development speaker. So I love coaching. I love helping people, create relationships in their life, whether it's romantic or otherwise. So I'm in helping people create interpersonal relationships. But I also am a social media content creator. So I'm a YouTuber, I have a vlog. So I'm a vlogger of a blog. So all these things make me very interested in sharing this. So how is this relevant to our topic today? So I'm going to share with you. I got a little visual cues here. So I'm going to start my sharing today with this. Where is this? So if anybody knows who this person is, okay, some people might recognize him. He's Jeff Bezos, the owner of the most company called Amazon, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit now about their social media. So Jeff Bezos has 2.4 million followers on Twitter. Amazon has 3.7 million followers on Twitter. Now, he is he's the richest man in the world, but he is being eclipsed very slowly after 10 over years in business. He is being overclipped by this man who is the owner of this business. You can see, right? Tesla, and that was Elon Musk. Okay, so Tesla has 10 million followers, and Elon Musk has, you won't guess this, 57 followers. So remember, Amazon 3.7, Jeff Bezos 2.4. So Jeff Bezos had lower followers than his Amazon business. But Elon Musk has 5-6 times more followers on Twitter than his business. So remember, Elon is a person and Tesla is a business. So why has he got more followers than his business? Now, Jeff Bezos last tweeted in, let me see, February of 2020, just before COVID hit, okay? And Elon Musk was tweeting just now before we went online. I just checked. He's just tweeted again a couple of hours ago. He's always tweeting. He's always online. So what does this mean for us? Actually, it means people buy from. See, someone may say, well, we need Amazon in our lives because we are buying things. They are very important, but we don't need cars. We don't all need a Tesla car. But people are interested in Elon, and by that virtue, his car, because of who he is. He's a very personable person. Everybody wants to have relationship with him because he's always trying to create relationship on social media. Whether anyone realizes this, that recently Elon Musk tweeted about Bitcoin, and it sent the price of Bitcoin soaring. I mean, I'm a Bitcoin owner. I was so happy. And then another moment, he was tweeting about advice or some about products, and inadvertently he made a small little mistake in his ad. He was tagging another company. It was a small struggling company in Texas in the US, and suddenly they became huge. They were getting orders, and they realized a small little tweet from Elon Musk suddenly made them become this huge company, only because his followers trusted him, right? So it is about creating relationships. But another thing I wanted to share, the personal story, is I have my Instagram page where I share about love stories and tips about relationship and things like that. And I noticed that my engagement, when I share a picture of me and my husband and telling real stories or personal stuff, the engagement goes really high. The likes went up a lot more than when I just share a generic post about tips on creating better husband and wife relationship, or about creating better work relationship, or with your colleagues and things like that. There was a lot less engagement than when I was sharing my real life stories. So people like personal stuff, especially in social media. We have crossed the line between personal and business. It's become almost interpersonal. I mean, without crossing the line, Elon Musk has now made people think he's one of them. He is their friend, right? So what is the strategy on that to get to that personal level? Okay, so I've got another cue for you. I've got this. This is an onion, right? We like to cook with onion. We want to have it. But before you use this onion, you're going to have to, thank you. And we're going to have to peel the skin, right? Every layer of the onion, get to the core of the onion before you can actually enjoy that onion. So my theory is that every layer of this onion is like asking a question. You have to ask a lot of questions. You see, dating with someone is not just you talking. It's also about you asking all the questions, especially the right questions, right? And we're always selling business, in personal life. We're always selling ourselves. But you cannot just keep selling yourself. You cannot just keep selling your product. You cannot keep selling your business. You also have to ask the right question. And asking is the beginning, is the path to getting onto that right track of relationship. So this is very much similar to when I tell my clients about, if you want to improve your dating life, when you go on a date, you have to ask the right questions. You got to keep asking the person, whether you are in a romantic relationship at home. So say my husband always asks me, oh, what are you doing? What's going on in your life? And vice versa with my kids too. It's always about asking questions. Elon Musk goes on his Twitter and asks his potential customers, what color car are you looking for? What kind of engine do you want? Does he listen to all these suggestions? No, he doesn't. But his followers or potential buyers feel like, oh, he cares for us. You see, asking questions makes the person actually feel like you are interested in what they have to say. It makes them feel loved. Isn't that funny? You don't just show love, you also show love by asking them a lot of questions. You make them feel they're important. You see, that is in business too, you want to make that person feel like they're important to you, right? I mean, they should be, but you want to make them feel like they're important. So what I'm going to say is, in business as much as in real life, is always think that we want to buy from someone we like, right? Just like a date, if you're single, you want to go on a date with someone. Imagine being married to, or imagine having a long-term relationship. I always believe that in business, I want to do business with someone that I can feel I'm going to be very comfortable having a face-to-face coffee session with, or having a casual lunch with them. I don't want there to be any what you call that, like nervous silence, or you're trying to figure out what to say. The conversation is very stilted. So the more questions you ask, the more you discover about that person, the more you know about them, the more they will feel like you are very much you very much like them, and they will vice versa like you. So what I want to say is that I've got 4 tips. Okay, this is actually very much about relationship, but it also works in business. Now, take time always to schedule meetings. Okay, now because we are in the middle of COVID at the moment, we can't all meet up in person. So what I have done to keep the relationship going, as everybody have suggested, the other speakers, is to always keep in touch, right? Your network. So I will always randomly email an ex-client or an old friend, and because I run a mixed marriage sort of support group, so when I know someone whose husband has passed away, somewhere in the US, and she's like a Singaporean woman, for example, and I know she needs support, I'll just send her a message saying, would you like to have digital coffee with me? She may not be interested in my services today, but by being friendly and open, she might be interested in my services in the future. So always make time to invite someone for a personal one-on-one session with you. I mean, of course, within limits. If you don't have the time, try and squeeze out one-on-one time with the most important person in your network, because that important person will then always remember you. And as Miss and Elaine and Vincent were saying, network, it keeps growing, right? From one ripple, it becomes the next. So my second tip is always ask the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you won't get the right answers. So again, in business, you always want to make sure you do your research. Same in personal relationship. In order to know what your wife wants for her birthday, or your husband wants for his for Father's Day, you always ask the right questions. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, you're getting to the core of the situation, or into their feelings, into the heart of the onion. Okay. The third one, always remember their little details. Have a little notebook, write, put in your phone. When I meet someone new, instead of asking their business cards, because I will forget about it, I actually take their picture, put it straight into my into the contact list. And as we have conversation, I remember little things, like maybe their birthday, or maybe they're vegan, or maybe they have children with special needs. I'll write it all down in my contact list. And I always remember to refer to this little information when I'm dealing with that person in business. Because again, remember, people like doing business with people they like. And if you remember, it puts you in a much more special position, because you are that special person who remember that, oh, they've just turned vegan, and you have a meeting and say, hey, I remembered you're vegan, I've arranged a meeting in a vegan location. Or you remember maybe, oh, their child is, and you bring special books. When the next time you meet up with them, it makes the person feel that you're very personable, that you are, again, you've crossed that personal line without actually being rude, or overly crossing the line. You know what I mean, right? It's like you've got that business setting, and yet you have become like a friend to them. So the fourth thing I want to say is show appreciation. No, I know, like Vince was saying, like in China, it's like relationship thing. I remember when I started off working in Singapore over 20 years ago, before I left. When I do business with Chinese friends, for example, I appreciate that they show appreciation to me. I don't always ask for commission, for example. If I introduce to someone, I just enjoy putting people together, enjoy the networking that people create, in that business context. And it's very nice that when I introduce someone from A and B, they meet up, both of them comes back and tell me, hey, thank you so much for introducing me to A and B, and then they invite me over for coffee, or they meet up with me, or they buy me lunch, or they send me a hamper. I don't expect all these, but these are the little things that show someone that you matter to them. That so they're showing to me that my effort to put someone important to them in their line of business has meant a lot to them. It may be little, even a simple card, even as these days we are all doing WhatsApp, we're doing just instant messaging and email, but I always believe that a little extra goes a long way. Everything is so digital today, right? I'm a bit old fashioned. I still believe in a little token of appreciation. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be a bunch of flowers to say thank you to someone, but always show your appreciation to the person that you've been doing business with, or potentially even if they don't do business with you, if you again show them appreciation, you are always going to be at the back of their mind the next time they are going to think of someone to refer for business with. As Miss already mentioned earlier, you keep growing your network by always coming back to the person, always remembering them, and just keep sending that ripples of kindness and love. See, always of this thing here is about spreading love, whether in personal relationships, in business. So when you always show appreciation to yourself, to the people that you find very important to you and in your community, it always comes back to you. So that is all I have to say. We're running out of time, so I am opening up the floor to any questions.
Wow, that is amazing. My head is just buzzing with so much information. And very beautifully wrapped up. Annie, okay, I'm so sorry for your loss. My condolences to you and the family and everybody who
Louder,
Yeah.
Marie, louder.
Oh, so sorry. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. So thank you for sharing again. Once again, very good wrap up, and condolences to your family. So sorry for your loss. Yeah. So
Thank you.
we're gonna miss you. You're gonna go to Thailand. Please don't forget us. All of us Singaporeans love going to Thailand. So we'll all be going in the whole plane load when the borders open, so that
I'll be
you'll
like Vincent. We'll just be running around, back and
yes,
forth,
yes, yeah.
cross-border business. The
Yes.
world is open.
Yes, yes. So Singapore Airlines has been receiving calls daily from us because we really need to go. We really, really need to go. Yeah. So to wrap up the session, some of the tips that you shared were, be personable in what you are. Be interested, create trust again, tell real stories. Don't try to make up stories so that people know who you are. You're authentic. And also show care, ask the right questions, care in a sense like, get down to details of what they like, what are their interests. And last but not least, show appreciation. And with that, right, we are wrapping up the virtual round table. I have fun, and these guests are just so amazing. They accommodate to me so well because generally I'm a very cheeky person, but today I kind of pull back a bit because of relationship building, and I don't want to lose all this relationship. So I will just hand over to Annie. I just want to thank each and every one of the speakers who shared so much of their time and their gems with us. Looking gorgeous at home, putting on makeup, nowhere to go, but stay at home kind of thing, except for Vincent. He doesn't need makeup. He just need to comb his hair. So over to you, Annie, to wrap up the session once again. Appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie, and thank you so much to all our speakers for taking the time to join us. And yes, I think I've also learned so much. But one of the biggest thing I've learned actually for today is the word trust. And honestly, when Vincent talked about PR, the only word PR that I am familiar with, public relations, because that's my first job. So when you say PR, I can only think of public relations, not realizing that PR could mean so many different things, right? So yeah, that was also a good takeaway for me. And so like I said, just as a quick wrap up, this particular event is a webinar is actually the second in the series of 4. So we have 2 more to go, and we actually built this entire webinar or virtual roundtable based on this word BRIM, because we're talking about business, talking about relationship. So as you can see, the next 2 topic is going to be on corporate image, on branding, and so on and so forth. And the last one we're going to be covering on mental attitude, right? So this is actually supported by our Singapore Tourism Board. in anticipation for our global summit that is taking place in September next year. So our fingers are crossed that we are able to pull off a physical event. The first actually summit that I've attended was hosted by Dato Elaine. With her power and her muscle, she had like 1,005. All right. I think if my team hear this, they're gonna faint, right? Are we gonna have 1,005 people coming? We're not sure. We hope we can do 200-300. I mean, we're happy with that. All right. So but yes, this particular round table is actually in anticipation for the summit that's happening in about 12 months, I don't know, 15 months time, right? So all fingers crossed that we can do it as a physical event. And then on top of it, beside this round table, we're also having a series of podcasts. And so following up with this event, we also be calling for speakers to share their podcast with us. We'll be sharing this more in our Facebook and our LinkedIn. So if you have some stories to share, some tips and tricks to share with our audience, do stay in touch with us, and then we will actually be sharing the link to submit your audio podcast with all of us. All right. So having said that, thank you once again to everyone. Thank you for being here with us. All right. And I would like to just request for the speaker to stay on for a little while, because we just want to get some screenshot as proof, right? That this is sponsored by STB. We just needed some proof. And with that, I'll officially close the session, and we'll go off the live and just stay on for our little photo taking. All right. So thank you once again to all of us watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.